If you could consolidate everything down to 2 words, it's just get big. I mean, let's be real.
Yes, they do. Okay, maybe that's an aggressive generalization, but in such a competitive and lucrative marketplace, the incentive to gain an edge has never been higher. Whether it's ethical, moral, monetary, or personal, everyone seems to have an opinion on the use of performance-enhancing drugs. And the context in which the conversation takes place will likely inform the opinion. Should they be allowed in professional sports, for example? Well, for decades, they've been illegal and considered cheating, but still, time after time, players and trainers find new ways to subvert the system to gain a competitive advantage in sports where even a 5 to 10% performance increase could mean millions of dollars of additional revenue. I mean, personally, I think it would be funny to just let everyone get juiced to the tits and maul each other on the battlefield of whatever sport they're involved in at a professional level. Half the people do it already anyways, and sports are for our entertainment after all. You know, that's probably a bad opinion. Sports is not my industry, but social media is. Now, when you talk about influencers in the normalization of gear use in the same sentence, the meteoric rise of Sam Sulek last year has to be in the conversation.
Through a diet of donuts, milkshakes, Five Guys burgers, and copious amounts of steroids, Sam Sulek has become the face of fitness content at the age of just 21 years old.
This man went from anonymous swimmer to giga-yoked online bodybuilding influencer in what almost seemed like a happy accident when his long-form daily lifting vlog showcasing his workouts, his freakish physique, and dietary habits started to go viral on YouTube. His low-key, congenial, barely edited long-form style was the perfect antidote to the ADHD, in-your-face, hyper-edited videos that have dominated on YouTube for years.
Obviously, Sam's transformation is not natural. Although he does have great genetics, this type of muscle growth is unobtainable without steroids. He himself has talked about how he does take steroids. He hasn't disclosed what he takes, but we can make some deductions.
To be clear, I'm not singling Sam out here. This is an industry like many where it pays to stand out from the crowd, and with potential 6- and 7-figure contracts available to those with the right look, it's not hard to understand why many choose to go the enhanced route, despite the potential of deleterious health effects.
Sam, I'd like to offer, you have to obviously take some time and think potentially, but
Oh yeah.
I'd like to offer you a contract with Hostile.
Oh shit.
So, I don't know if you need to take some time to think about it. Obviously, we'll have to discuss,
Details.
what it's going to look like in detail, but
Yeah.
since you're not signed with anybody, I'd like to extend the offer.
Oh yeah. No, that'd be sweet. Glad I think performed.
Huh?
Glad I performed.
Honestly, I'm low-key, I'm happy for Sam and his success. I know I'm talking about some of the bigger picture things in this video, but I kind of genuinely low-key kind of like the guy. Anyways, like any drug of choice, whether it's of the androgen variety, a socially celebrated poison such as alcohol, my personal favorite, or anything else that introduces something exogenous to the human body in the quest for a specific outcome, as Gandhi said, there are levels to this shit, primo. And what I mean is you can enjoy the occasional martini or two to heighten a social experience and still expect to live a pretty full life, or you can drink 1.5 liters of warm Smirnoff by noon every day and die of liver cirrhosis when you're 37. In a similar fashion, there are probably people way more educated than you and I that are able to use PEDs responsibly. And then there's guys who sprinkle a gram of Tren on their morning Wheaties and pop D-balls like vitamin C gummies and end up with kidney failure before they hit 30. Many such cases in the industry.
We're in this together. We're trying to get gains, baby. We often know that we're not the smartest. We don't have all the answers, but gosh damn, we will motivate you to make sure that you're getting in the gym and pushing yourself.
In Sam's case, he's not trying to hide the fact he's using. He's admitted as much. He just doesn't go into the details, which is his right not to. But it definitely raises the question of just how much intangible influence his popularity and others just like him might have on the next generation of young kids wanting to follow the same path. And speaking of path, I recently turned 39 and mine continues to lean more towards functional health and longevity as the main goal of my training and nutrition. And to my delight, the brand that has helped me dial in the training part of that equation has been kind enough to sponsor today's video. So let's chat about that, and then we're gonna dive a little bit deeper into this one. I've now reached the year mark that I've been using the personalized fitness app Trainwell, formerly known as Copilot, and I'm excited to share with you guys the experience just keeps getting better. You guys know personal wellness and fitness are very important to me, and Trainwell makes reaching my goals and maintaining healthy habits so much easier by having a personalized fitness expert to help me stay motivated and eliminate the guesswork from my weekly workout routines. With constant updates to the app, the experience just keeps getting better and more intuitive, and their name change from Copilot to Trainwell is just to clearly differentiate themselves from the growing number of AI chatbot Copilot services and underscores their commitment to human-led personal training that emphasizes the value of genuine human connection and expertise of their outstanding trainers. Speaking of trainers, my trainer Nate has been instrumental this last year in keeping me focused and delivering fresh routines that are challenging and tailored to my needs. For instance, I currently have a horrendous case of tennis/golfer's elbow or some sort of tendonitis that's absolutely been killing me this last month. And Nate wasted no time modifying my workouts to accommodate and even sent me personalized videos of some therapeutic exercises I could do to help recover faster. Truly world class. Whether you're in a gym or working out at home with limited equipment, your trainer will take into consideration your lifestyle and time constraints and create a workout plan that makes sense for you. It's truly fitness made easy. I mean, you still have to put the work in, but it puts the more difficult aspects of working out, like consistency and knowing what to do, on autopilot. Trainwell and my trainer Nate have truly been integral this past year in my ability to maintain what I believe to be my healthiest and best feeling year in the last 2 decades plus, and I'm looking forward to keeping it going. If you're interested in getting or keeping it going as well, go ahead and click on my Trainwell link in the description. That's go.trainwell.net/LeonLush to get 14 days free with your own expert personal trainer. Thank you guys for listening. You know I appreciate you. Now listen, bodybuilders are gonna bodybuild and take a ton of drugs in the process to try and compete professionally and push the limit of what's possible. This has been going on for decades, but since the proliferation of social media, the fitness industry has truly become steroid obsessed.
What would happen if I took steroids for 30 days?
He says he's natty, and I know he's made a lot of videos about him possibly transitioning over to the dark side. It looks like he takes something.
Steroids are the most popular they've ever been in the fitness industry.
And when asked if I've ever taken steroids, I've always said no. I don't touch the stuff, not gonna touch the stuff, never touch the stuff. That was a lie.
Natty or not videos fill the sidebar of any fitness related content because people are seemingly obsessed with speculating over whether or not these industry titans are really 250 pounds at 8% body fat because of their white labeled protein powder they're selling you at a markup. Primal! As Kenny KO puts it,
Why would someone want to, lie to their audience? Why wouldn't they just say they're on, gear if that's what they're on? There's no point. What reason would they have to lie? They have every reason to lie. They are selling ebooks. They are selling clothing. They are selling their supplements. They are selling everything under the sun to achieve a better looking physique for the people that watch their content. So they have the pressure of maintaining their physique at where it's currently at, if not building it consistently so that they can continue to rake in revenue from, their followers and subscribers, thinking that they're natural and that they can acquire the same look as said fitness influencer if they take that creatine or they take that whey protein, they take that pre-workout, which isn't going to be the case.
pretty solid explanation, Certainly there's vanity involved, I'm sure, but the almighty dollar typically is a good enough reason for people to do shit. And Kenny KO has actually made a pretty decent YouTube living just calling out people in the industry for not being honest and raking in the cash on the back of some sort of contrived story about themselves, and I can't say I don't like it, to be honest. I feel like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is the final boss of the natty or not question on YouTube. I think it's safe to say we know the answer, but no one's allowed to get close enough to him to ask it, I'm sure.
Steroids are the most popular they've ever been in the fitness industry. And just as the physiques have gotten bigger, so has the industry and the number of impressionable fans. So I wanted to see if the industry and its enhanced athletes are causing more harm than good.
This is Jesse James West. He's a massive YouTuber in the fitness space, and he seems like a pretty honest guy. His content's pretty well thought out, high effort. I mean, he's right in the mix of the fitness industry, and he went as far as calling it a steroid epidemic in the title of this video he made a few months ago.
What would you say, like, there's the kid that looks up to someone and just wants to hop on gear because they don't have a good physique and they just want to quickly, I want to look like C-Bum.
What steroids can get you is a more muscular version of yourself. Very few people thought this through a lot and really just want to look like C-Bum. What they want is to be like C-Bum, to be famous, to have a following, to have a beautiful physique that they're proud of.
But surely this is all speculation. I mean, there is no way that these influencers could unknowingly convince kids to take steroids so that way they look like them, right? That would just be crazy. Who's your favorite influencer?
Sulek.
Why?
I like the physique. I like the shoulders.
I think this is one of the most nefarious side effects of the state of the industry as a whole that you can't really, you know, it's hard to pin on individuals like Sam. He's just living his life, doing what he loves. He's not lying to people to sell a product or pretending he's something he's not, like a lot of the snakes.
For the record, it's natty, right?
And he's not explicitly telling people what to do, but the nature of influence is that it works subconsciously as this unspoken spell created by his mix of popularity and the get big at all costs life that he lives and shares daily. I believe people of all ages are ultimately responsible for the choices that they make, but it's not hard to see how a young, impressionable kid trying to find his footing during the awkward teenage years might have an easier time jumping into something with some pretty serious health ramifications.
Would you ever take steroids?
Probably. I want to get big.
Oh, you would?
I want to get big, yeah.
Do you want to look like Sam and that's why?
Yes.
You would?
Yeah.
Quite frankly, statements like that are very concerning.
Concerning, maybe. Surprising, not really. He also talked to Greg Doucette, who's another huge YouTube channel who disseminates, he makes like 1 million videos, talks about everything going on in the industry. IFBB Pro, I think, very open about his lifelong gear use.
Greg Doucette, Daddy Greg.
He's an ex-steroid dealer, I didn't know that.
You, in your past, were a former steroid dealer.
Yes.
Why do you want to even talk about this on the internet?
Well, honestly, I want people to know about the dangers of this and how common it is, and being somebody that used to sell it, people think it's just bodybuilders. It's everybody.
And that is the truth, and it's been like that for a long way. It's not just bodybuilders. Everybody knows that guy in high school or the kids that were playing football, somebody at the gym that was deal stuff like that. And social media has made it just more visceral and in your face. And I think that may be beneficial in a lot of ways because it's just, you know, shedding a light on maybe what was living in the shadows for many years previous to the internet boom. So yeah, there's the element of it being in your face, people like Sam maybe influencing the decisions of younger kids. The flip side of that is there's a lot more information more easily accessible now.
So what is the current problem within the fitness industry of influencing these kids to go down the wrong route?
Now we got such famous guys. We got Chris Bumstead and Sam Sulek, who we all can tell are taking something. And so if you're a kid, you want to look like that, you know you're gonna have to take something. So the social media pressures to look good, I think that's what's causing everyone to do this.
So do you think that the fitness industry is glorifying steroids by chance?
I think that indirectly that they are, without even realizing it.
Yeah, I think that's ultimately what it is. They're not on video glorifying it. They're glorifying it just inadvertently through their use and their lifestyle and you know, becoming rich and famous due to the lifestyle that's been afforded to them because of the way they look because of steroids. To me, part of it feels like the symptom of social media where everything seems to get pushed to the extremes. And we've seen different iterations of this over the years with Instagram and female bodies and the way asses and tits look now and people going to get BBLs because, you know, it needs to get bigger and bigger. And all of a sudden someone sets a new standard. You have Kim Kardashian and then someone comes out and gets a quadruple BBL and tries to one-up her, and now she's got 2 million followers because her ass is the size of a fucking trailer. There's a psychological piece to it. There's an element that is just the extremes rising to the top, and that being the potential for more attention. And we live in an attention economy now, so attention can equal money. But the most jarring thing to me is how young it is skewing now with people like Sam, you know, 20 years old when he was blowing up on the internet, absolutely freaking nature. You talk about people like the Tren Twins. Literally, their name is the Tren Twins.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? No, I agree. there's nothing more I hate than a fake natty. Because they're just feeding their egos. And they're using it to make money. And that shit pisses me the off. It's just like all these other corporate companies feeding you bullshit to keep you small. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna tell you the truth and our experiences, because, you know, we're in this together. We're trying to get gains, baby. We often know that we're not the smartest. We don't have all the answers, but gosh damn, we will motivate you to make sure that you're getting in the gym and pushing yourself.
Now, if I'm being honest, it's really hard to dislike these guys because, you know what? Even though they're fucking 20 years old and yoked to the tits, just filled with oils and all types of androgens and, you know, hormones, they're at least being honest and authentic. They're pretty hilarious. They have a great dynamic. They're very entertaining. This is one of those gray areas for me where, like, I love a lot of the pillars that they build their content on, but this is absolutely inadvertently glorifying steroid abuse to young kids. I mean, these dudes are, from what I understand, like 20 or 21 years old. guys crank. They're absolutely yoked.
Hard.
Just crank workouts together. They're actually pretty witty and kind of funny sometimes. Just your like all-American meathead. You know, just fucking love it. And don't get me wrong, like as a dude, I'm just programmed to like the look. Like, big muscles, huge. I think that's badass. I grew up like watching Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jay Cutler, Ronnie Coleman were like the dudes when I was young in the 90s. I used to have muscle and fitness mags. I used to idolize that shit. It's probably why I got into working out to begin with as a fat kid who was super insecure. I'd look at guys like that in the magazines and be like, man, that's crazy. And, you know, now that I'm an old fucking boomer, I look at the industry in such a different light where it's like these dudes are basically just sacrificing their life to excel at a sport where it's accepted that you are going to put yourself at great risk to try and compete at a professional level. And certainly there's other things where that's normal too. I mean, you talk about football players. When there's money and fame involved, these guys, some of the athletes at the top of their game, they're playing, you know, football, dealing with the potential to have fucking CTE or permanent brain damage or lose the ability to walk after they're 50 years old. But it's like, they know the risks. They're getting paid enough money and they make the choice to do that. And this is not that different in many ways. Another thing I've thought a lot about as I've gotten older is remembering when I was a kid and kind of like idolizing these dudes that were huge. And it's certainly glorified just by Hollywood, a million different ways. But you look at some of these people and it makes me think of body dysmorphia being a two-sided coin. Like you think about body dysmorphia, the first thing that pops in your head is like anorexia or bulimia, and women typically that, you know, look in the mirror and are at a healthy weight or are even severely underweight and still see themselves in a way that they're not. And I feel like bodybuilding at a point is the same thing. It's just the other side of the coin. It's no different. Like at what point is being big enough? Now I know it's a little bit different when there's like the monetary incentive and the potential to compete professionally and make a lot of money doing it. But there are so many people that are not ever gonna make a dime from doing this that are so fucking huge and they just look in the mirror and think that they're not big enough. And that to me is a very strange thing. It's almost like a superpower as a dude, I think, to be able to get to a certain level of fitness and be like, yeah, this is cool, I'm comfortable here. But I think of this thing called like the paradox of diminishing returns when it comes to fitness. And like what that is when you're starting out, even with a mediocre effort, you can see incredible progress in a gym, whether it's putting on muscle, losing weight. It's like you start to make these changes, you're lifting heavier weights, you're locking in your diet a little bit, and you're seeing all this progress. And then as you go on, the progress starts to slow down a little bit. So you start to work a little bit harder, you lift a little bit harder, maybe more, you're doing more cardio, you're dialing in your diet a little more, and you see some more progress. And you get to a point where there's this paradox where like you're working incredibly hard. You have to work so incredibly hard just to maintain a certain level of fitness. And that goes against everything in the human psyche when it comes to working out. One of the things people get addicted to is seeing physical results. People aren't getting addicted to being healthy. They're getting addicted to looking in the mirror and be like, holy shit, that's crazy. So when you get to that wall where it's like you now have to work twice as hard as you were working when you started just to see zero results and stay the same, that's the inflection point for most people where they either go down this path or whatever. I think about that shit all the time because I've noticed that myself too. It's like once I get to a plateau and I'm like, man, I'm fucking working hard and not seeing that crazy results, this kind of sucks. It's not to say you can't continue to tweak things and find these gains, but I think that is one of the reasons why they've become so prominent because, you know, it is as much as it is like maybe an easier route for some people to have huge gains. It's also for people that have worked hard maybe for a long time and gotten to a point where they've reached their body's natural potential. And what's the logical next step if you're addicted to seeing physical changes in the mirror?
I'm happy, man. I'm happy with how I look, right?
The goal of this video was to explain the reality of steroids. And I want you guys to walk away feeling confident about yourselves, not comparing yourself to other people online.
Good
luck. If you are gonna go down that route, do it right.
You gotta know what you're doing. Take your health serious.
It can affect your health, it can affect your sexual health, your sexual function, your social relations, your criminal record.
Focus on your nutrition, focus on your training.
One of the most dangerous things with steroids is some of these causes are permanent, as in it's there forever. Once you've done it, you can't go back in time. It's permanent damage you've done forever.
All right, Greg, relax. I'm glad to see you have a little discernment now, but apparently you didn't have that same discernment when you were dealing meth out of the back of your VW bug. Steroids, I mean. So why is everyone in the fitness industry on steroids? Well, because it's lucrative, baby, and nobody likes a pussy that can't bench his own body weight. But mostly, it's lucrative. and vanity. And when there is money to be made and baddies to be slayed, health is the last thing on your mind when you're young and you haven't had to think too much about the cold reality of your own mortality just yet. The truth is, we're being influenced every day, everywhere we look. Pop culture, movies, music, our friends, family, sports, fashion. A lot of the time, we don't even know what's happening. It's just a slow burn that over time might change the way we behave or our opinion on something. In the case of steroids, they're front and center now more than ever, and maybe that's a good thing as it is. I mean, it seems to be forcing more honesty overall from everyone involved. But what hasn't changed is that there is always going to be influences, good and bad, all around us at all times. And it's up to the individual to spend time learning in order to make an informed decision that hopefully leads to the best outcome, like checking out today's video sponsor, Train Well, in the description. That's an informed decision. I appreciate you guys for watching. Make sure you hip thrust that motherfucking like button. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.